Okay, you're looking at moving to San Diego and you just want to know, like, what the heck's the weather like in California? Well, I promise you, it's not as perfect as you may think. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover what the weather's really like and what you need to know when moving to San Diego. Let's go. What's up everyone, my name is Cameron Hyde, and on this channel I talk about everything about living and moving to San Diego, California, and why I absolutely love putting out videos every Tuesday and Thursday and live on Wednesday. What I love even more, being a licensed realtor here in the city, is helping you relocate to this city with your real estate decisions. So this number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me when making those decisions. Alright, getting into the video. What's the weather really like in San Diego? Well, I will tell you, most of the time, it's as perfect as you say. I mean, right now, I figured it was fitting to shoot this video outside because, I mean, look at the sun. It's beautiful. Like, the weather is just absolutely amazing in this city, and I mean, in California in general. So you're gonna get an extreme amount of sun down here in Southern California, and really, especially like during spring, summer, and fall, I promise you, like when it comes to making decisions like, hey, I want to go hiking, fishing, camping, or just having a party outside, really what it comes down to is you can plan and probably not worry about the weather screwing up your plans. Sometimes it may be extremely windy during those times, but it's very hit and miss. Now, I will say my favorite time of year in San Diego is going to be the mid to late fall heading into winter, because yes, I am one of those weird people that it is great that the summer and we have so much sun here, but I really enjoy that cooler late fall weather that sets in every year, and it's just awesome, especially if you want to go to the pier, the coast, and get to enjoy those nice cloudy mornings every day. Like even right now, and I have a video play over while I'm talking about this, even this morning we had an extreme cloud cover, and being so close to the ocean, that's something you can expect many days of the year, but it clears up by late morning. Even right now, I think it's about noon, it clears up, it goes away. It's not something you need to worry about. It's temporary. It's just when you live close to the coast, you're gonna have that cloud cover that comes up every single day, but we call it burns itself off. It's just that marine layer that hits over. Now, if you're living along the coast, like Oceanside, all the way south, like Pacific Beach, Del Mar, like it might sit around a little bit longer, and also, you know, it might be a little bit cooler. So that takes me to my next thing is, depending where you live in the county, you could have widely different weather. So you look at like Oceanside, all the way down to Del Mar, that whole coastline, even Imperial Beach, Coronado. When you're along the coast, you generally are gonna have more wind, cooler temperatures. But when I say cooler, it doesn't mean it's cold. Now during the winter, it's definitely, yes, it's gonna be colder because you're gonna have that breeze being along the coast. But when you look at, you know, personally, I think it's better weather than it is when it comes to inland. So being on the coast, like during the summer, like when you look at like Ramona all the way in East County, Julian, like you will see, man, you could easily see 95, hundreds if it's record-setting temperatures, but you're gonna see the 90s when it hits Ramona. Whereas along the coast, it might only be 80 to 85 degrees. Now, it does get hotter than that, especially during August, which is like the peak heat season for living in California. But being along the coast is you're gonna have more mild weather than you would, say, Ramona, or even heading north into Temecula in southern Riverside. So if you want milder weather and your budget allows it, coast is the place to be when it comes to that more mild temperatures. Now, like you look at like a vlog I just did recently, which is in San Marcos, and being San Marcos, Poway, heading south along the 15 to the 163, you do start to have generally slightly hotter temperatures, maybe less wind. It doesn't mean you don't have windy scenes, like when those Santa Ana winds come through, it doesn't mean you're not gonna have wind. But what ends up happening is you are gonna have higher temperatures than you would along the coastline. Now, there are like differences in that, like pretty much every city, because we are in a very hilly area being in Southern California. Like if you have a home that's up on a hill, you obviously probably will have more of a breeze than you would being down in the center of each city. But it's something to take note of. It's like making sure you choose your location of where you live to fit what you're looking for and can tolerate when it comes to weather. Now, it's all of San Diego, so you're still gonna have the general California weather. Like, we have a ton of sun. You're probably never gonna have weather issues when it comes to planning unless it's windy. Now, during the winter, that is the rainy season. And when I say rainy season, it's not like it's Portland. It's not like it's the north where I'm from, New York, and the Northeast. It's not like that at all. Not even like Florida, right? It is, the rain is very little, but we do get periods where we have a lot of it. Now, like when I first moved here in 2014, it was a severe drought and had a lot of issues, but we kind of went away from that and had more rain throughout the year during the winter. We have since progressed on that, and we were back into a drought period. So unfortunately, yes, drought is a big issue when it comes to weather in Southern California. They have to bring in water to the city from a lot of places. If you do get a home with a well, it isn't going to be like it's in Florida or like the East Coast. Like, you might run into issues where you have lower water at certain points of the year, especially you have to watch your water usage. And it's not as extreme as it sounds always, but it is a situation where you do have to keep in mind with that, especially when you go to like Bonsall, Fallbrook, Ramona, and you get to these places where you get away from the city, but you also are in a place where you might have a well and have to keep in mind that your well is actually recharging at a good rate. Now, people always look at it and they're like, well, how cold does the winter get? I mean, at night, you will see 40s at night. I mean, I've had seen random like 35 degree weather, 33 degree weather, but that was so rare. It's not often at all. Most of the time, you will see 40, 45 at night. Going to be the coldest temperature of the year, and I have seen over 100 degrees here in the summer of California here in San Diego. So we do have a broad range in that, but really compared to so many other places that I have lived, like New York, Florida, you know, going to Oregon, like, it is like the most mild weather, and most of the year, like I say, it's a place where as long as it's not raining, it's campfire weather year round. It is awesome, and it is an amazing place. We'll say I have become definitely a baby when it comes to the weather, so I love my AC during those summer months, and that's something to take note of is a lot. But then along the coast, some people, they really enjoy the hotter temps, but it's milder along the coast. So if they're in like Encinitas, Carlsbad, and they have a house that's a good elevation and they're getting that breeze, they might not even use their AC majority of the year because they're totally accustomed to it, and it's not an issue for them. All right, next thing is, this is just like a weird topic, but it's the fact that, like, you know, you really do have to choose where you live in San Diego. Like, even right now, they're working on building a water project to reuse sewer water and turn it into fresh water for the city. And that might gross a lot of people out, but it's just a fact that's in progress. Now, they do this anyways because they clear the water and they put it back into the environment. But they're looking at trying to recycle that because we're in a drought. And we are the city and the county is trying to reuse that water so we can have, like, we don't have like skyrocketing utility costs, which is why water is definitely probably gonna be some of the more expensive water that you pay for in a lot of the places you've lived if you've never lived here in California. Now, going to the water issue with like the drought and everything, a big thing that causes as well from that is wildfires. So because it gets so hot here and it gets so dry, if you're living away from the city, you do become more at risk of having wildfires and having to be aware of that. And there's definitely been a lot of people that have gone through their homes getting completely burned down. Even if you're stationed on Pendleton, even like base housing has burned down before. It's just one of those things where you live in a chaparral, and it's just a part of environment. There's even stories of people when they came to California hundreds of years ago, and the first thing they describe is that it's on fire. Because that's what chaparrals do. They burn. It burns to nature. And then the worst thing is unfortunately there are situations where some are man-made, and those are the unfortunate ones. And it does happen, people being reckless, careless, and it's just not good. But there's plenty of natural wildfires that happen every single year. And while they keep trying to do certain things, and like you have certain codes where they come to your house, especially in like high fire areas like Fallbrook, Bonsall, Valley Center, and they make sure that you clean up the brush around your house. And there are certain things you can mitigate to try and lessen the damage on your home, but it's something you need to be aware of, especially if you're choosing those outskirt areas. Now, there's also fires that have happened in cities in smaller amounts too, like if you get large lots and stuff like that. It just happens. Now, like I said, if you're in the city, it's probably gonna be a very lesser issue, but it's something that really a lot of people just don't understand, that it's, it's natural, it happens. It's unfortunate when they are man-made, and those people get punished very severely. But it's one of those things where if you live in those areas, and I've lived in them before too, is you just make sure you have that good mindset and you have things prepared like you would anywhere else. Like California, we're very blessed. Like the worst thing they're worried about is like the big earthquake that's coming, right? And I'll talk about it here in a little bit. But like, it's not like Florida where you're guaranteed to get at least one hurricane every hurricane season that's gonna hit you where you live, For the most part, aside from like the earthquake, like you're just working on just having small mitigation. Now, if you do live, because of those wildfires, if you do live on the outskirts of the city, they do rolling blackouts. So when we get those Santa Ana winds and that wind's blowing very strong, the SDG&E and like electrical companies will shut off power for sometimes a couple days. Now, they do set up centers that allow you support and internet where you can go to do that, but it's making sure that if you do live in those areas, understand that your house might need you can get a home generator or having solar with a backup battery to make sure that you can supply your own power if you do live in an area where they will cut power at some point. And the reason they do that is to, obviously, winds knock down power lines, and by cutting power in these danger areas, they make sure they prevent wildfires and damage. So if damage does occur, there wasn't any power on those lines to begin with, so they can rebuild it and be less risk for those fixing it, but also those who live in the area. So it's it's a toss-up, and it's one that unfortunately I was angry about it in the beginning, but now you start to understand why it's like that, and hopefully as infrastructure can start being improved and not be such an issue moving forward. But it's definitely a big thing, is making sure you're prepared for that. Okay, so all in all, that is about all the big things you need to know about the weather in San Diego. 98% of the time, it is perfect and amazing weather year round, with just the temperature fluctuating up or down. Like the big things, obviously wildfire. Yes, it rains a little bit. I wish it would rain a little bit more during the winter so we didn't have as bad of a drought as we are in, but is it one of the unfortunate things about living in California currently. Now, I hope this video was really informative. When it comes to the weather, realize that you're most likely coming from a place that has more broad weather than we do here in San Diego. So a lot of the negative things that people don't like about the weather, in reality, is such a small, minute thing that is really just not a major concern when it comes to moving here, because that's one of the biggest thing is cost of living. In reality, the weather is not one of those reasons. Like, even people who don't even like living here, right, and they visit, even they agree the weather is perfect and amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you great information. If you're looking to make the move to San Diego, like I said, we absolutely love helping you here on the team. This number below is how you can get a hold of us. Call, text, or email, whatever you need to do. We have your back when moving to San Diego, and I hope to see you in the next video.